So look at the story. If I want to call any lightning, if I want to call Apex class from the lightning, first we need to import the method from the class. If you want to invoke any Apex class method within the lightning web component, in the JavaScript, I was supposed to import the method. So how do you import the method in the JavaScript? Let us see. If you want to import the method, we need to give import method name, whatever the method you want to call, the method name from import method name from at the rate of Salesforce Apeks / namespace / class name dot method name. This is a statement which I was supposed to import if you want to invoke a Apex class within the lightning web components. Again I repeat, if you want to invoke lightning, if you want to invoke any Apex class within the lightning web component, we are supposed to write a statement, import method name from at the rate of Salesforce / Apeks / namespace dot class name dot method name. This is how I am going to define it. So first, let me log into the package. So I have some classes here. Let me file, close the folder. I have designed some of the examples. The same examples I'm going to explain you. Whatever I implemented there, the same examples I'm going to explain you. So look at the story. Right. As usual, open the folder. Then create the project. Project is created. Then I'm going to log into my org. Then authorize a dev hub. Web components. So examples what I created already. So let me start here. Then create scratch arc right. Now I want to create a lightning web component. I want to create an Apex class. So what is the name of the Apex class I give? LWC example. So go back to the story. Create an Apex class. Create Apex class. Example. Create the Apex class. So if you want to call any Apex class within the Lightning Web components, that should have URI enabled. Now the class should be URI enabled. Look at the story what we have here. I gave a LWC example at the rate of URI enabled, cacheable equal to true for the quicker access. Then I gave public static list of account, get account list. The basic SQL query. Basic SQL query. If you want, you can add one more extra statement, list of what's equal to. Basic SQL query I have written. So what was this? This Apex class, when you call it, it is going to return you list of account records. It is going to return you the basic Apex class, which is going to return you list of records. Right. Then I want to create a Lightning Web component. Create a Lightning Web component. Then I have Apex Apex example 1. The component is getting created. So here still it's not loaded here. Let it be loaded. Okay. So I have example 2. First I'm going with the story. In the example 2, here I was supposed to give import. What is the name of the method? Get in the Apex class already I have given the method name. So what is the method name I have given? Get account list. Import get account list from at the rate of Salesforce. This was the property. Import method name from same story. Copy the link here. From here I gave at the rate of Salesforce / Apex / because I have not given any namespace. Default. What is the name of the class I give? LWC example dot method name. What is the method we got? Get account list. This is what I give. Import get account list from @ of Salesforce /Apeks /name of the class dot method name. Then, if you want to communicate with any data, if you are trying to interact with the database, if you are trying to refer to the S object, it is a must that we have to define a while. We have to use a while property. Now here, after defining the property, if you are trying to invoke, if you are trying to invoke any data from the S object, then we are supposed to define the data like a while property. We are trying to define the data as a while property. How you define? Look at the story. @ while, name of the method. In case if you want to pass any parameters, you can pass the parameters here. Okay, @ while, name of the method. In case if you want to pass any parameter, we can pass it, followed by property name. So @ while, Apeks class method. Because I want to use annotation called while, I have given while here. @ while. Then name of the method, get account list. I don't have any parameters. Now I'm giving the name of the property accounts. That's it. That's done with the Apeks class. Now it is trying to invoke the properties. It is trying to invoke a method called get account list from the class called LWC example. It is going to invoke a method called get account list. It is going to invoke a method called get account list from LWC example. Whatever the data we are getting, that is referred with attribute called accounts. That's what I have given here. So import, because the statement I'm just copy pasting the same code again. Right. So what we have? Import get account list from so and so class, the name get account list. Then @ while, get account list, attribute is account. Now what I want these elements to be printed. How do you print the elements? If you want to print the elements, we require template for each for item. If you remember well, for each for item we have a template. So let me copy paste the code. By now you'll be knowing this structure, no need of any further explanation. Basically, I don't require all this stuff. Okay. Now Apeks class example, template I have taken. If there is any data in the accounts, true, print this. Template for each accounts.data item. Whatever the accounts I have taken, this accounts.data. For each accounts.data, for each item, ACC. So we are taking ACC.id, ACC name. ACC.id, ACC name. For each item, like let me put a single property because I give paragraph here. Okay. Right. Now, what was the story here? For each element in the accounts. Here we had accounts. Look at the property. We just brought import statement, import method from Apeks / name of the class dot method name. Then I told @ while method name the variable. When you are calling this variable, you got here accounts.data. We are calling a variable accounts.data. We are calling a variable accounts.data. We are calling a variable accounts.data. So when you say accounts.data, we are getting a template for each element account.data for item ACC. ACC.name, ACC.phone. We are done with this. Then go to the Metadata, we know if you are going for a metadata, is exposure equal to true, targets equal to lightning record page. Just enable the story. Right. So we have created an Apeks class which is going to return you list of records. Whatever the list of records you're returning, those list of records I fetch the records with the help of wire property and I'm giving. So from Apeks class, whatever the data we're getting, the data we fetch it in the form of wire property. Now what should I do? Push them, open the default arc, then push the code to that arg, Control Shift P, then I have push source to default scratch arc. Okay. Then go back to this. Open the sales. Because I'm writing a query, first let me create some data in the account. New account. Just I require some data because it's a scratch arc. We don't have any data in that. Okay. Now go to the any one of the page. Let's say I'm going with the lead page. Okay. Let me take any one of the account. Edit page. Example 2. Copy this component. Save it. There. Go to the component. Look at the store. I got name, TCS, phone number. So what was this? I wrote a SQL query. After writing a SQL query, whatever the data I got, that was given to the Lightning Web component. Whatever the data we received in the Lightning Web component, that is referred using a wire property. So we are giving at the rate of wire, name of the method. At the rate of wire, name of the method. At the rate of wire, name of the method, and we are giving a property. So whatever the data you have sent, the data is received here as an accounts. Now this data, what I received, I was printing. See, all this is extra stuff. Basically, our program is this is the program. Template for each accounts.data, items ACC. Now we got ACC.name, ACC.phone. This is how we are referring it. I hope everyone has followed this example. Anyone has any query on this example?
Okay, Satish, quick question. So you are doing import of the method. So if the method calls two other methods, do we import just the parent method, or we need to include the child methods
Now,
also?
we are invoking one only. What is the method we are invoking is important to us. Now, because I am calling this method, now what it internally does, we are not interested, right? I was imported because wire is calling this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I was calling this because wire is using it. Let me go to the next story. Now, the same story, Any other queries from anyone else, Amma? Okay. The same story I can also define that another way. The other way of
Satish,
yes, Amma,
what is the use of wire method?
to refer to the data properties.
Okay, okay.
Next, let us go to the next format. We have taken wire a property. This is how we have done the first example. The second way of implementing is wire a function. Now we want to define this like a wire a function, like a function should be wired. So how you define the function as a wired? Now look at the story. This should be given at the rate of wire. Let me show this. At the rate of wire, yeah, at the rate of wire. This is for such functionality. Yeah. At the rate of y, we are giving the function. Then, whatever the variable we are trying to track it, wired contacts. Now, the function we call it. Previously, we gave a property. Now, instead of property, we want to call it as a function. Previously we defined a wired property. Now we want to call like a function. Previously we defined a wired property. Now we want to call it as a function. When you want to call it as a function, whatever the attribute you are referring, because it's a context, so I have given wired contacts. Then when you say function will give you two responses. One is the error data, other one is the data. Now we are taking if data is received, then take the data and perform whatever the action you want to perform. If error is there, then print the error message. Basically, a simple function with error and data. You got the data, what should I do? You got the error, what should I do? So this is a wired property. This is what? Wired property. So let me take an example quickly. Let me take an example. Lightning web component. The same story what you have seen there, I have given it with respect to my class name. Look at the story. Whatever the functionality I have given, the same functionality. Now we got wired get account list, error, data. If data, this dot accounts. If data is received, put this data to this accounts. If error is received, put this error to this error message. Okay. Now move on to the template. We want to create a template and display the data. Go to the template. The same program what I have given earlier, same program, but only one extra thing is kept there. That is if data is there. Previous example was if there is a if true data, I told functionality. Now I am giving if data, if it is not true, what to do also I am printing it. The same story what we have done earlier, but now if error is there, what to do? One extra element is added here for the same program. Whatever the program we have done previously to display the data. But here the story is 1 minute. We made a small mistake here. There was button action. We're not interested in the button action right now. Okay. If error was there, how to get the error? Right. This is a story. Now let's move on to the functionality. This is exactly same like a previous one. There is no difference you are finding here. Only the point is instead of property, we are calling like a function. Instead of the property, we are calling like a function. Go back. So let us complete the example, then we'll look into what we can achieve with this. Right. Now what you are supposed to do? Push them to.
Oh, Satish, there is one line missing in the meta XML before target.
Yeah, is exposed. Push to scratch arc. Go back to the same story. Edit the page. Right. Go back to the story. So this because I am printing only the name, we received the name. If you want to make the changes here, you can make it. Right. The same story. One is fetched like a void property, another is fetched like a void function. But our general functionality is we don't want to invoke it directly. Our general function, let me finish this example. I'll give the third point. Right. So Apex class invoked with the void property, Apex class invoked with the void function. Now, if it is like a void function, you want to give success and error handling. If you want to go for success and error handling, if you want to go with a success and error handling, you're going with a void function. But generally, what will be our functionality? We will have a component. When you click on a component, we will be having a component or button. Enter the data. Click on a button. When you click on a button, I want to invoke a functionality like this. When I click on a button, I want the Apex class to be called and the result should be given. Right now, when the component is loading, automatically function is happening. I don't want the function to happen automatically. I want the function to be invoked when an event occurs on the component. I don't want component to be, I don't want the Apex class method to be invoked directly. I want the Apex class method to be invoked when an event occurs. So how to invoke an Apex class method when an event occurs? How to invoke an Apex class method when an event occurs? How to invoke an Apex class method when an event occurs? So let us see the story. The third one, invoking Apex class method when the event occurs. If you go to the third story, look at this. Now, invoke the method of the Apex class. Whatever the method you want, invoke the method. Once you invoke the method, if you got the result, perform this operation. If you got the error, perform this operation. Now we are saying, when you invoke a method, this is the method which you are calling from Apex class. When you call this method, if you got the result, perform this operation. If you got the error, perform this operation. So this is what? When the event occurs on the element, JavaScript is called. From the JavaScript, we are calling a Apex class method. When you call an event, when you call an event, when an event occurs on the element, JavaScript is called. Within the JavaScript, we are trying to handle. Within the JavaScript, we are trying to handle Apex class method, right? Then what is it? If the Apex class method is handled successfully, then we are going to say this dot context equal to result. If it is not handled successfully, this dot error equal to error. So let us go back to the story. Let me create a quick example for this. Right. So go back to the story.
Okay, so Satish, is it right to say that the wired property as a method will be used to evaluate if the data is getting transferred to the web component or not? Handle it accordingly.
See, that is used to refer to the data. Now the data, if you want to track it, we have to put it in the attributes. Okay, reactive property or non-reactive property and handle it. The wide property cannot be used directly in the component. In the component, we are going to use the reactive property or non-reactive property. That means tracked attribute or non-tracked attribute. So whatever the wide you are using, that is only refer to the data. But at the end of the game, we are supposed to assign that data to the any one of the tracked property. From the tracked property, we are going to access in the component. See, simple. If I'm able to add the wide component directly, why to write all this functionality? Straight away the property I can use it in the properties can be used. No. So basically, the wide property is to refer to the list of record. If you are trying to refer to any database related data, then we go for wide property. You get my point? If you want to refer,
No, I mean, yeah, I got it, but I'm trying to understand the difference between the two methods what you displayed just now. Wide property, get the property accounts, and wide property, wired accounts. So what is the difference between these two methods? Why do we use it?
handle. Now we are handling the error mechanism, right? When you take as a property, we are not checking out whether you are not handling the error functionalities. You are not giving a custom error functionalities in the. If you want to control the custom error functionalities, then we give wide function. You got error.
Okay, so just to
Data
handle the error only,
exactly.
yeah, okay,
And
thank you.
second thing is when you got the data, you want to customize the data before you display. Whatever the data we
Yes,
received, directly I am trying to display. I don't want to display directly. I want to customize it. I want to
okay,
customize it.
got it.
Then again, we need to
Yeah,
go for some custom logic. So the wide function will help out. The wider property data received directly sent to the component will display it. But if you want to apply any business logics, okay, on the data what we received, that will not happen with the property that we will be handling with the wide function. Right? Okay. Okay. Let's move on to the next example. Right. I hope all these properties are clear for the people. So I'm just pushing off quickly to cover more areas. Right. The same example, there's no difference, whatever the example you have done in the earlier. But only the point here is we have a button. When you click on a button, JavaScript is called. The JavaScript is within the JavaScript, we are calling the Apeks class method. This example, we had a button. When you click on the button, when you click on a button, JavaScript is called. Within the JavaScript, we are calling the Apeks class method. This is the difference what you are finding between this. So when the event occurs, we want to invoke a JavaScript. From the JavaScript, we want to invoke this functionality. Right. Then move on. Let us push the element.
okay. So when the JavaScript is calling, we don't need the wired accounts method,
Not
wired accounts.
not required. Now we are not considering like a property, right? If you're
Okay.
if you're defining like a property, then we have to go for it. We are not considering like a property. Then go back to the same story. Parmesh, go to the component. Save it. Now we add a component here. Click on it, we are getting the corresponding data. So when the event occurs, we are calling the functionality. When the event occurs on this, we are calling the functionality. Right? So when you click on the button, the corresponding functionalities are called. I hope you are good with this example. Right. At the same time, we also want to know how the data can be passed. Now, if you have a function with parameters, how the function with the parameters can be called. Now, we are invoking the methods what I have passed right now. All these methods are without parameters. What if you want to pass your parameters? What if you want to pass your parameters? Now, look at this. Now, here the name of the method is find contacts. Then we have search key and we have $search key. Now, whatever the data we entered, we want to handle this one. Right. So, if you want to pass the parameter, let me show one quick example. Okay. Right. Look at the story. So here they're asking you to pass a search key. They're asking you to pass the search key. Now we have a method with a parameter called search key. We have a method with a parameter called search key. Now whatever the parameter you're passing, based on the parameter we are trying to get the data and we want to push out. Now the rest all the story remains the same. Only the point is we are supposed to specify the search key. Now, when you click on the button, look at the point here. I am taking here input text. Whenever the change happens on the input text, JavaScript is called. Now, from the JavaScript, how do you read the value? Event dot target dot value. This is what we used to do in the last thing. Event dot target dot value. In case you want to set the time limit, we don't require all this stuff right now. We will straight away implement this. So let us see how to implement this with a parameter. Let us try to create this example with a parameter. I hope by now everyone is good with these formats. I'm just pushing the topics quicker to get the wide possibilities. To get all the possibilities, just I'm pushing the topics faster. Contact controller. Right. We'll slightly customize the page. It's failed. Create Apeks class. The name we got here. Apeks failed. Why it is failing? Right. Then we are just pushing the data. I hope everyone knows this format of writing. All the basics are very common basics. I don't need all this stuff. I don't have such a huge data also. Okay. Now, we wrote an Apeks class. Now we are supposed to define the scripting. Create a template. Control Shift P. Create Lightning Web component.
Satish, do we have the picture underscore C custom field
No, I
to the
removed it.
select query?
I already removed it.
And the select query, in the select query, it's there.
I removed it. Acha,
No,
yeah,
from
yeah,
contact before
yeah,
that.
yeah, I got it. Got it. Okay. Now, Control Shift P. Let me select Control Shift P. Writing a component. Now, the same story, slight modification. The same story, slight modification. We'll remove unwanted stuff from here. Only we put the required data what I need. So the name of my class is here, contact example. Then I don't need a delay and all this stuff. Then I don't want to set any timeouts. Right. The basic story. Now basically it's a wide property. The wide property is contacts. We are referring like a wide property. We are referring like a we are using a wide property. So the same example, only the point is name of the function, find contacts. You're putting find contacts. Then they're expecting a parameter here. The parameter is search key. Then I told search key, this is the value. So whatever the value we are giving here, the value I was giving here, search key. Then when I call this method, the data what we are getting is a contacts. I'm storing in a property called contacts. So what was this? Whenever the data we enter, if you enter the data, the input, whenever the value in the input box changes, this event is called. Whatever the name we entered, that event dot target dot value, we received it. Now basically they give the delay. They give the delay because every time, every word I type it, they don't want to load the data immediately. They want to give some delayed operation. So now I want to display the data. When you want to display the data, again, go to the template. It's the same story. There's no difference in the display of data for each. So go back to the story and I'll remove my error templates. I don't want error templates. Okay. So this is how we got the story. Now make it active. Is exposed equal to true. Target lightning underscore record page. Go to the metadata. Make it exposable. Push the elements. Push to default scratch arc.
Okay, so Satish, since that you removed the delay for every keystroke, there will be a SQL fired on the backend to get the updated results.
Exactly. First, let me put some data. So go to the contact, go to the edit page. Would the data, entire data is coming. I think event is not getting fired. Uh, Let me cross check the code. Is there has any impact on the word contacts search key? Take your search key in the page, go to HTML, on change handle key, contacts data. You have given a dollar, so automatically the data should be replicated. Search key. Okay. Now, is my search functionality has any error here? Let me cross check here. Search key, name, like, search key. Acha, because it has S anywhere, everywhere. No, last two records anyway, S is not there, right? So, event is not firing up. Okay, let me cross check the code. What exactly the delay functionality is conveying? I remove the delay functionality. Let me check out the delay functionality. Acha. So basically, they defined this functionality to invoke the update. So as long as the delay time is not met, the search key is not updated. Let me put this code and try it. Let me put this code and try. Why would it require? Okay, let me check out this. Let me check out this. We're going for a void function.
Did you push the new code to the default org?
Yeah. Okay. Now we are getting this operation. Let me identify the issue here. Basically, we are getting the output, but we need to understand this story. Set the timeout to update it. So whatever the change that is happening here, we are asking it to make it reactive to this variable. Okay, let me find out this meaning, boss. Basically, it conveys that state, but why we require this statement, I don't think is mandatory. It should be automatically updated to us. Basically, look at the functionality. The core objective of the functionality is basically component is loaded, data is kept. Initially, whatever the component we have taken, the value of the such key is blank. Initially, the value of such key is blank. But the problem here is, once I call the handle key, whatever the search key is there, okay, fine. Okay, they're reloading the component basically. Whatever the name we entered, with that name, again we want to call this functionality. So we are trying to reload the page based on the delay. We're setting to reload the page. Maybe this is to reload the page, but I need to find out exactly what makes it to reload, delay timeout. Basically, this functionality, as per my understanding, this functionality is to reload the page. Initially, the component is already loaded with a list of records. So when I changed it, whenever the value changed, based on the value what I entered, it was supposed to call the data, call the functionality again. See, again the void function should be called. When this void function should be called, should I reload the page? Basically, it should be reload of page should be there, but they have given the delay functionality. Let me cross check why they have given the delay. Let me cross check. But our intention is to identify how to pass the parameter. So we can invoke the Apeks class in three ways. One is by with the help of void property. Another one is a void function. Another one is within the JavaScript. That's what I was trying to convey. So look at this story. Invoking Apeks class within the Lightning Web component. So to call this Apeks class within the Lightning Web component, we require via wire or imperatively. Imperatively means within the script. Now, by using a wire or imperatively. If you are using a wire, first before calling the wire, we are supposed to use the keyword import method name from at the rate of Salesforce /Apeks namespace dot class dot method name. As we don't have the namespace, we are directly giving class name dot method name. The next, we can invoke the Apeks class method in three ways. One is void property, void function, imperatively. When I say void property, at the rate of wire, within the braces, method name, attribute. At the rate of wire, method name, attribute. If you want to pass any parameters, we are supposed to give Apeks parameters. If you want to pass any parameters, we are supposed to give Apeks parameters. That's what we have given here. So initially, the first example, similar to this, whatever you have seen contact list, I have done with account list. So we have given at the rate of wire, method name, and the property. The property we have taken contacts.data. Now I want to customize this data. I want to handle error. Then we will go with the void method. When you say void method, we have to give at the rate of void. This is the method. At the rate of void, method name. Now define a method name, whatever the variable you are trying to refer, contacts. So void contacts, error data. If it is error, what to do? If it is got the data, what to do? You perform this operation. Right. This is a void function. Then the other one is the imperative. Imperative means whenever an event occurs, I want to invoke a Apeks class method. So then I have given when on click happens, call the JavaScript from the JavaScript we are invoking a Apeks class method. Then we are going to get a result and error. Call the Apeks class method dot then what to perform, catch, whatever. It's like a try catch. Try catch. If you got a result, do this. If you got an error, do this. Then it's like a try catch. Try catch. Try. If you got result, do this. If you got error, do this. This is how we have done it. So here passing the variable, passing the variables, passing the attributes. If you want to pass the attributes, you are given an example. Pass the attributes. Right. Now here the story is okay. So let me not make this a property. Fine. Okay. Now the next story is we want to go with the next story. The next story is yeah. This is what basically I was looking at. You are supposed to call a refresh Apeks. That's what I was saying. Why the people have used delay functionality, I couldn't get it. Basically, we are supposed to refresh. This is how we are supposed to pass the functionality. If any value of if the amount is modified, we are calling refresh Apeks. There is a reload the method, re-invoke the method. But there we got a time delay. I have not got that. What is the purpose of the time delay? I'll cross-check and let you know. But basically, this is what we are supposed to do it. Whenever the value is modified, when the event occurs, when the value of the element is modified, then we are going to refresh the Apeks. Re-invoke the Apeks class. Okay. Fine. Let me move on to the story. Here, we want to understand how we can call events in the Lightning. So, we'll see how events can be called in the Lightning. So, we are trying to create an event. Basically, when you are trying to create an event in the Lightning component, what we do? Create an event, register an event, fire an event, handle event. There are 4 actions what we are going to do. Generally in the Lightning, what we do? Create an event, register an event in the child component, then fire the event, then the parent component is going to handle. Now, here also in the Lightning Web components, we got application level events and component level events. So, but the terminology is going to be slightly different. But the concept of component level events and application level events are there. So, basically, what is the story of component level events? Whenever event is fired by the child, parent has to capture it. Whenever an event is fired by the child component has to handle, or the parent component has to handle it. When you say application level event, whenever the event occurs on one component, the siblings can handle or parent can handle. This is the story. So here we are going with the first. If you want to create an event, we have a predefined class called custom event. If you want to create an event, we are supposed to go with this concept. Where, here is a constant event equal to new custom event. Name of the event. Then we are supposed to dispatch the event. So if you want to fire this dot, generally in the Lightning, what do you do? Event dot fire. Then we are going to say this dot dispatch event. So create a custom event and dispatch the event. Create a custom event and dispatch the event. So if you want to create a component level events, first what we are supposed to do in the child class, in the child component, create a custom event. Give a name to the event. Then followed by, if you want to dispatch event. Dispatch event, name of the event we are supposed to do. This dot dispatch event, name of the event. Right. When you are giving a event name, no uppercase letters, no spaces, no underscores or separate words. So what I am doing here, right? Try to understand this example now. Try to understand. First, name of the event, it is a previous. Name of the event previous. Name of the event next. Name of the event previous. Name of the event next. Name of the event previous. Name of the event next. Now this is a child component. If the parent component want to handle it, we are supposed to handle based on this element only. Now, this component name paginator.html, the paginator. So how you are going to use c-paginator. Then what are the event names? Previous, next. So when you want to handle it, if a child component want to handle it, c dot child, then here I am going to say on, if the name is previous equal to mother name. So this is the instruction that we have to follow. Again, I repeat, in the parent component, parent.html, parent.js, here I am creating const event equal to new custom event name test. Then I am going to file it. This dot dispatch event. So this is a child component. Here child component is filing. Now parent component, parent.html. So we have parent.html. In the parent.html, we are supposed to say c-child. Here the element will have only one attribute. What is the name of this event? Testing. So the attribute is going to be on testing equal to call. Then in the parent.js, we have call me. Then whatever the action. So this component is firing the event. This component is handling the event. This component is firing the event. This component is handling the event. Component level events. Component level events. Child component fired and parent component handling. Child component fired, parent component handle. So to create an event, we need to say new custom event, name of the event, dispatch event. Based on the name only, we are going to invoke the handler. Based on this name only, we are going to invoke the handler. I hope you're good with this. Everyone has followed this? Everyone has followed this? Okay. Fine. So let us take the example. Let us take the example. I'll just go with the same example here. Go with the story. First, let us look at the code. Basically, we have lightning button, right? Next handler, left, previous handler. When you click on previous handler. When you click on next handler. Basically, there are two buttons, previous button, next button. When you click on the next, okay, previous handler JavaScript. When you click on the next button, next handler. Basically, the page has two buttons. The page has two buttons. It is a child component which has got two buttons. Go to the JS. In the JS, what we are doing? In the JS, look at the code. There is nothing new you are going to find from here. Previous handler. When you click on the previous button, what is the JavaScript we got? Previous handler. When you click on the previous button, previous handler button, okay, previous handler JavaScript is coming. Here what I am doing? Create a new event. So I gave two statements here. They are giving this as straight away. That's the only difference here. Okay. So new. They are creating an event and dispatching the event. Now next handler, they are creating an event, dispatching the event. Now how this is handled is the question. I hope this is clear, Amma. I hope this is clear. Everyone is clear with this. Everyone is clear with this. Creating an event, dispatching it. I wrote in 2 lines, they wrote in single line. That's only the difference. Okay. Then I need to create a parent component. Now this is the child component what is created. I need to create a parent component. So what is the parent component we have? Events, simple. Now let us create another component. So let's move on to the story. Right. Here comes the story from our end. So look at this. Our event name is previous. So what I am going to give? On previous. My another event is next. So we are going to give on next. So when you are handling, if the previous event is fired, call this JavaScript function. If next event is fired, call this JavaScript function. That's what I am going to. Then go to the script here. So in the script, what we are going to do? Define 2 functions here. When you click on previous, -1. When you click on next, +1. Push the code. Understand this. In the next session, we'll try to make some use cases on it. Now push the code. Go back. So here we have a simple event. This is how the functionality. Basically, these 2 buttons are printed on child. These 2 are child component buttons. This is the parent component. So when the event occurred on the parent component, it is fired. When the event occurred in the child component, it is firing an event. Parent component is handling and processing the functionality. Now look at the story here. Now, how are you creating? You create an event here. Create an event. Then fire the event. Fire the event. This dot dispatch event. This is what dispatch. Create the event, fire the event. Create the event, fire the event. So they have as this is how it is done. Now this is the component. When this component is firing the event, it should be handled by the parent component. When you go to the parent component here, now this has become parent because I am calling the child component within this. The child component is called within this. Whatever the event name is there, because the event is previous, here I have to give an attribute called on event name. On event name. If this event is fired by the child, I will perform the following functionality. If the event is fired from the child, I will perform the following functionality. So go to the parent. What is the action you want to perform? You can do it. Is that story was clear, boss? Okay. So whatever the concepts you have seen for the day, with the combination of these, tomorrow we'll try to build. I just give the syntactical stories. With respect to the documentation, we just done the syntactical stories. We'll try to make one use case with all these concepts. Tomorrow we'll do one small use case type to implement all these functionalities. Right, Amma? I hope people are good with this in working in Apeks class and calling a component level events. I hope the people have got the story about this. I hope
What time are we meeting tomorrow?
Tomorrow 5:30 Amma, 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. Okay. Right. So
Tomorrow evening 5:30.
come again, Amma?
Tomorrow evening 5:30 class.
Yes, 5:30.
Okay.
So we'll try to make some use case. Whatever that topics that you have seen, we just made a copy paste of the existing documentation. So we'll see a quick use case on these three functionalities together. In working Apeks class and events together, how to make a quick functionality. We'll try to build one quick functionality and achieve the use case. Right. Right, boss.